Inheritance tax in the Balearics, inheritance tax in Mallorca, inheritance tax in Menorca, inheritance tax in Formentera, inheritance tax in Ibiza, and inheritance tax on any of the other beautiful smaller islands in the Balearics. My name is Michael Davies. I'm a Spanish lawyer, and for over 25 years, I've been handling estate planning and probate for expats all over Spain. Okay, so the first thing is why are we saying, why is this inheritance tax specific to Balearics? Very simple. In Spain, we have a national system of inheritance tax, but then each one of the 17 regions of Spain have been allowed to create extra exemptions for inheritance tax, making the resulting in very different levels of inheritance tax depending on where your asset is in Spain or where you are a resident. So that's why today we're going to explain the Balearics. Okay, so the first thing that you need to understand before we start jumping into things is that in Spain, the inheritance tax is paid by the beneficiary, not by the estate. Otherwise, the rest of the explanation won't make sense. Also, that I'm going to explain step by step how the inheritance tax is calculated in the Balearics, but at the end, I will give you 3 or 4 examples where I will tell you, for example, in the case of a married couple that owns a 300,000 euro villa, 500,000 euro villa, an 800,000 euro villa, a million euro villa, and say €1,500,000 euro villa, a married couple that lives that, how much the spouse would pay in inheritance tax if their partner passed away. And I'll do that at the end. So, if you want to scroll forward and just go straight to the examples, you'll be able to see what the inheritance tax is going to be. Okay, so the way it works, I'm going to share my screen and just go through things with the actual law in front of us. Here we are. So the first thing we need to do, as I say, it's the beneficiary that pays inheritance tax. And with the beneficiaries, you need to understand the following, that if you are a resident in the Baleares, you will declare your inheritance tax on worldwide assets and you will claim the exemptions available in Baleares. Now, if you are a beneficiary who is a non-resident of the Baleares, then you will declare your inheritance tax to the Spanish National Tax Office, but claiming the exemptions available in the region of Baleares. Sounds a bit strange, declare to the National Tax Office, but claiming the exemptions available in the region. It's very important because if you don't claim the exemptions, you're going to pay a lot more inheritance tax because it's all by self-assessment and you need to get these things right. Now, if you are a resident in Spain, but a non-resident in the Balearics, then you would pay inheritance tax conforming to the region where you live, regardless of the estate being in Baleares. And if you are a non-resident of Spain, for you to declare the exemptions available in Baleares, the majority of the estate has to be in Baleares. If, for example, you inherit 2 houses from your father, and there's one house worth €1 million in Marbella and another one worth 500,000 euro in Ibiza, as a non-resident, you will actually declare it to the Spanish National Tax Office, but you will apply the exemptions available in Andalucia to the complete estate, because you have to, if you're a non-resident, you have to apply the exemptions available in the region of Spain where the majority of the assets you're receiving are situated. Okay, I know it all sounds a little bit crazy. As I say, if you have doubts and you want to go through this in detail, because there's a lot of money sometimes dependent on this, book a Zoom with me. We do a 1-hour Zoom consultation to go through your will, your title deeds, and to make sure that everything is as good as it can be for the day that you pass away. Okay, as far as inheritance tax. So the first thing that we do is we determine what your taxable base is. And this is determined for each beneficiary. Okay, so the taxable base, if you are a non-resident, it's going to be the assets that are situated here in Spain. If you are a resident beneficiary, you have to what you receive from the person that's passed away, what you receive worldwide. Now, the first thing we do is if you are the son or descendant of the deceased and you're under 25, you have an allowance of 25,000 euro, and then 6,000 euro, and then 6,250 euro for each year that you're under 21. If you are the spouse, a descendant over 21, or a parent, then your allowance is 25,000 euro. Okay. Then we have some other allowances in the Balearics, other allowances on the taxable base, which are all to do with, for example, if you're inheriting a family business, that would be one of the cases. If you have an incapacity, if you're disabled in any way, there are various possibilities of further allowances, but they're quite sort of specific, and we won't go through them because that would give for a whole new video. I will just quickly mention about the family home. There is an allowance of 180,000 euro for if you're inheriting the family home, but there are some conditions. You have to be in a house where you've lived with the person that deceased, and there's some strings attached to this allowance of 180,000 euro, and that is that you have to then live in the property for a further 5 years after the person has deceased. In other words, there are strings attached, and then sometimes it may not be worth claiming this exemption, depending on how much your inheritance tax is, because of the strings attached. For example, if you're a spouse and you're inheriting, you may want to sell the property and not be on your own over there in Ibiza. You want to move back to the UK or Australia, Canada, or whatever, so you may not want to have a limitation put on your possibility of selling. So basically, you've got the 25,000 euro reduction for spouse, descendants, and parent. Now, today I'm only going to cover the exemptions available to spouse, descendants, that's children, grandchildren, etc., and parent. I'm not going to go through the exemptions available to cousins, brothers and sisters, or strangers. I'm just going to tell you, though, that the taxes and fees in those cases, the taxes are much higher, okay? But we're going to concentrate on spouse, descendants, and parents. So if you're one of these categories, this video is for you. I also want to point out that this video is, if you're not intending of moving to the Baleares, or you're not going to inherit in the property in the future in the Baleares, or you haven't got a property there that you're going to leave to your loved ones, this video is not for you, because this is specific for inheritance tax in the Baleares. If you're on the fence and trying to work out where to buy a property, and it surprises you that there's different levels of inheritance tax, then watch another video that we made where we compared the inheritance tax levels in Baleares, Valencia region, and Andalucia region. You'll find a link down below, and that's very useful if you haven't purchased yet and you're trying to work out where to purchase. Okay, so let's continue now with the calculation. So the next thing we're going to do is go to the sliding scale. Now, the sliding scale in the Balearics is very different from the sliding scale that we have in the other regions of Spain. In the Baleares, on the first 700,000 euro of the taxable base, this is on your taxable base. So if there's 2 children, each child has their own taxable base, okay? Now, after reducing the taxable base by the 25,000 euro of the other children, the first 700,000 euro in the Baleares is only taxed at 1%. From 700,000 euro upwards to the next 300,000 at 8%. The next million at 11%. And the million after that, 15%. And above that, we're talking about 20,000 euro. In other words, 700,000 would be 7,000 euro. 1 million euro would be 31,000. 2 million euro would be 141,000. and 3 million euro will be 291,000. In other words, the exemptions are actually quite generous. Now, depending on the pre-existing wealth of the deceased, the small multiplier that you have to apply to the final bill. I mean, up to 400,000 euro, there's no multiplier. And then between 400 and 2 million euro of pre-existing, you multiply 1.05. Between 2 million, 4 million, 1.1. So the multipliers, we can basically almost forget about them. Always remember, for spouse, descendants, and parent, we forget about the people that are further removed. Their situation will be much worse. And there's one final exemption available in the Balearics, and that is that for underage children, for those that are under 20, for those that are under the 21. Once you get to the final tax bill, you get a final deduction of 99%. So they'll pay basically no tax. Okay, so in a nutshell, that is it. That would how it works. So let's work on a couple of examples now. Okay, so let's say that we have John and Mary that buy a property of, let's say, 400,000 euro. Okay, they're non-residents. The property is over there in Ibiza, and on 400,000 euro, they may have a bank account, a car, other smaller items. But let's just concentrate on the big one, the house. So if they have a house of 400,000 euro, the estate would consist of 200,000 euro, and on 200,000 euro, it would only be taxed at, we'd make the deduction of 25,000 euro, and at the end of the day, we'll be talking about the spouse paying tax at 200, 1, 2, 3, multiplied by 25, would be 200,000 euro, would be less than 2,000 euro for the spouse. If we take that villa all the way up to, I don't know, let's say 700,000 on 350,000, we would deduct the first 25,000. At the end of the day, we're talking about 3,500 euro in tax. So we'd have to go above the 1,400,000 euro as far as the value of the house to start looking about something that's more serious. Even on 140,000 euro, we're talking about the inheritance tax being under 7,000 euro. So my conclusion for Ibiza, because as I've always said, it's difficult to compare pairs to pairs when we're talking about the inheritance tax systems in Spain, because each one has created their own sort of different types, different levels of inheritance tax, of exemptions, but they're all done in different ways. So you can't sort of compare them 100%. So basically in Ibiza, let's finish by saying that the system in Ibiza is very favorable for spouse, descendants, and parents, as long as each one of those beneficiaries in those groups does not receive more than 725,000 euro. If they receive 725,000 euro or less, they're basically going to pay just under 1%. Okay, so it's a really good deal. And if they were children underage, even less than that. Above that, above those amounts, there are other regions that are more favorable, mainly Andalusia. Okay, so with that, I hope you found the video useful. If you did, please hit the subscribe button. It's good for us. And if you want to stay in touch with us, write me an email, say you watched one of these videos, and I'll put you on our newsletter. If you want us to take a look at your existing will, you're up in the Balearics, Mallorca, Menorca, and to look at your existing will just to make sure that it's well made out, that there's no problems with it, no problems with the system of obligatory heirs or anything like that. We offer a Zoom consultation, and if after the Zoom consultation, which we do charge for, you want to then hire us to make your Spanish wills, or do new ones, or do your first Spanish wills, then we can organise that that for you. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day.